Hi, friends. It's Principal Bill back with another episode of School Time. It is so nice to see all of you, and I hope you are happy to see me. We have had lots of exciting things going on lately. This is our fourth video that will be posted to School Time. I hope all of you are watching. Please keep sending positive comments to Facebook and YouTube, and subscribe to us on YouTube so you can see all of our new videos. We have lots of friends that are actively making videos now because they want to connect with you. So I hope you'll be excited to see who the new faces are each day. I know I'm excited to see all of the videos and share them with you. Before we get started today, I want to review our schedule so we can see what we're going to be doing. Let's take a look. First, we're going to start with a joke today. I think I'm pretty funny. We'll see if you guys think I'm funny too. Next, we're going to read a book. I'll share the topic with you in just a minute. I think you're going to like it. Third, we're going to talk about birds from around the world. That might give you a hint about what our book is about. And lastly, we're going to talk about birds in our backyard. So again, our schedule for today: one hilarious joke from Principal Bill. Principal Bill's going to read a book to you. Then we're going to talk about birds from around the world and birds in our backyard. I'm going to post the schedule right up here so you guys can take a look at it to see what we're going to do next as we move on. All right, so let's start with our joke. Here's the joke of the day. Why does a flamingo stand on one leg? Do you know? Can you take a guess? Because it would fall over if he lifted the other one. That is a hilarious joke. I love that one. And it goes right along with our theme for the day. We're going to be talking about birds. Before we read our story, let's take a look at some important words that we're going to watch for as we read the story and we have our discussion. First is see. We're going to talk about seeing lots of different things as we read our story. And as if you remember from Principal Bill's previous post, we talked about hearing. And then Principal Sarah talked about seeing things when she read about Grumpy Mr. G. Our next important word is, can you guess? Can you read that? You're right, it's bird. A bird is that feathery animal that you see flying through the sky, standing on the ground, perched in trees and bushes, and sometimes swimming on the water. So we're going to talk about a lot of different birds today. Our next word is world. When you think of the word world, the world refers to all of the land, air, and water on our planet Earth. So we're going to talk about the world today. Let's see if you can learn about some very special places around the world. And our last word of the day is backyard. Backyard refers to that space that's behind your house or your apartment or your trailer or wherever you live. It's typically grassy or there's trees, but that's the space that's behind where you live. So again, let's review our words. We're going to talk about the word see. We're going to see lots of things, and our character in the story is going to see lots of things. The word bird, that feathery animal, and sometimes birds look very different. So we're going to see what birds from around the world look like. The word world, and last is the word backyard. And I'm going to post those words for you right up here. All right, so let's take a look at our book. Can you guys find the title on the cover of our book? Where is it? Can you point to it? Can you find it? You're right. The title is right here. It's called Around the World, Birds. Where's our author? Remember, we talked about this the other day. The author is that person that writes the book, writes the story. You're right. Our author is right here, and his name is Travis Schaefer. And our illustrator, the person who draws the pictures, that person is listed right here. The illustrator is Andrea Bockert. So let's take a look at the cover. Let's take a closer look. I think the title is going to tell us a lot about what this is about, but let's also take a look at the pictures. What do you see in the pictures, and what do those pictures tell us about what our story will be about? Take a closer look. You're right. One of our key words is world, and I see the world laid out in a flat map on this cover. So I think we're going to talk about different places around the world. What else are we going to talk about? What else do you see in the picture? You're right. I see lots of different birds too. So today we're going to talk about birds from around the world. Let's get started. Let's travel around the world. We will travel to find different birds. Let's start traveling. It looks like we're going to take a trip with our character right here, and she's going to teach us about birds and places from around the world. We arrive in Venezuela. Ooh, that's a fancy name, Venezuela. I wonder where that's at. After we're done reading our story, you should take some time to find Venezuela and the other countries we're going to read about on a map with your parents or your brothers and sisters or a friend. We arrive in Venezuela. We see a bird with a colorful beak. Ooh, this bird is a keel-billed toucan. Let's travel to another location. Have you guys ever seen a keel-billed toucan? They are a beautiful bird. I don't think you'll see them in your backyard, but you may have seen one at a zoo or on TV or in a magazine. Next, we arrive in India. Ooh, exotic places. We see a bird with long feathers. Do you guys see the bird with long feathers? I see these birds in our backyards in Michigan sometimes because people keep them as pets on their farms. And I know of at least one Ed Center friend who has a peacock in his backyard, and he knows who I'm talking about. This bird is a peacock. Let's travel to another location. I wonder what bird we're going to see next or where we're going to go. Let's find out. Next, we arrive in Cuba. You can see the map of Cuba and its flag right up here. We see a bird with long legs. Can you guys find the bird on the page? You're right, it's right there. Have you ever seen one of those birds before? I've seen them at zoos many times. Let's find out what it's called. We see a bird with long legs. This bird is a... You're right, it's a flamingo. Let's travel to another country. Next, we arrive in the United States. Hey, that's our country. I wonder what kind of bird we're going to see in the U.S. Maybe this is a bird that you see in your backyard sometimes. We arrive in the United States. We see a small bird flying really fast. Do you guys know of a small bird in your backyard that flies really fast? If any of you have bird feeders out, and I just put my bird feeders out again the other day and filled them up, this bird takes a special kind of food. This bird likes a sweet nectar where other birds like seeds. Let's find out what he's called. This bird is a hummingbird. Let's travel to another location, but before we do, how many of you have seen hummingbirds in your backyard? Raise your hand if you've seen it. I've seen a hummingbird in my backyard, and I'm hoping they come back this year as the weather gets warm. Ooh, I wonder where we're going next. This is a neighboring country. Next, we arrive in Canada. Canada is just north of Michigan on the map. We see a white bird in the snow. Do you see that bird? He has a very distinct shape. I bet you guys know what it's called. You're right. That bird is an owl. And because he is all white, he's called a snowy owl. Have you seen an owl in your backyard? Let's travel to another location and see what kind of bird we see next. Next, we arrive in Kenya. Kenya is in Africa. We see the largest bird in the world. Oh, wow. That's so cool. This bird is called an ostrich. Have you guys seen an ostrich before? I've seen them at the zoo too, but not in my backyard. We saw birds from around the world today. Come travel with me again soon and we'll see more. The end. What do you guys think? Did you like that book? Did you? I hear lots of yeses out there and I see lots of smiles on your faces. I know you liked it and I liked it too. I like learning about birds and other animals, so maybe the next time Principal Bill comes back, I'll bring another book about animals. You never know, it'll be a surprise. But Principal Bill isn't done yet. We have more to do. So, let's talk about the birds that we learned about from around the world. Can you guys think about the story? What were some of the birds that you learned about, or the birds that you saw from different countries? Think about it. Who wants to shout out that first answer? You're right. One of the first birds we saw was a snowy owl. You see? I see a snowy owl. And you saw a snowy owl too. What else did you see? There's lots of birds that we saw. You're right. We saw a flamingo. Wow, you guys have really good memories. Keep thinking about the story. What other birds did we see? I saw a bird that had a really colorful beak. It was a beautiful bird, and we don't see these birds in Michigan unless maybe you go to a special place like a zoo. Do you guys remember the name? You're absolutely right. It was a tough name to remember. It was the keel-billed toucan. I saw a keel-billed toucan, and you saw a keel-billed toucan too. What else? We have a couple more to remember. Can you guys think hard? What about the bird that we said lives in our backyards in Michigan sometimes? Do you guys remember which bird that was? It's a bird that likes a special food. It doesn't eat seed. It likes a sweet, sugary nectar. You're absolutely right. We saw a hummingbird. Remember? I saw a hummingbird, and you saw a hummingbird. You guys are so smart. I can't believe you remember all these birds. Did they talk about more in the story? Think hard. I think there's another one. I think there's a couple more. What about the bird that came from Africa? And it was the largest bird in the world. Do you guys remember which one that was? That's a hard one. Think about it. You guys are right. We saw an ostrich. You are so smart. You guys are on fire today. I can't believe you remember all these birds. There's another bird that we saw too. Think about it. I know we have an Ed Center friend who has one of these in his backyard, and he's shouting it out right now. What's that last bird that we saw from around the world? You're absolutely right. It was a peacock. And peacocks are known for having long, colorful feathers. That's why people keep them at their houses and on their farms sometimes, because they're just beautiful birds to look at, and their feathers are very beautiful and valuable. So let's take a look. We saw lots of birds from around the world today, didn't we? I saw an ostrich, a peacock, I saw a keel-billed toucan, I saw a hummingbird, I saw a snowy owl, and I saw a pink flamingo, and you saw those birds too. Before we go, I want to talk about a couple more things. Let's take a look at our schedule again. Remember, we said we're going to tell a joke, we were going to read a book, we were going to talk about birds from around the world. We have one thing left to do, and that is to talk about birds in our backyard. So let's take a look. These are the birds in my backyard. Let me do that again so you can see it in the camera. These are the birds that Principal Bill sees in my backyard. I wonder if you guys see these same birds in your backyard. You take a look and tell me if you see these in your yard. So when Principal Bill looks in his backyard, I see a robin. We have lots of robins in my backyard. They fly around by the trees and by my deck, and I put out some bird feeders with fresh food, and they love to eat the seed that I have in my bird feeders. So yep, I see a robin. Do you see a robin in your backyard? You should take a look. What else does Principal see in his backyard? Oh, I see a beautiful bird that I really like a lot. When I look outside and I look on the trees in the woods behind my house, I see a woodpecker. And woodpeckers are known for making that tap tap sound on the tree as they're pecking on the bark looking for insects for food. What else does Principal Bill see in his backyard? When I look out in the backyard, I see a yellow bird called a goldfinch. It's a very pretty bird. What else? Oh, I didn't see, well, sometimes I see this bird in my backyard, but I took a walk the other day, and when I walked by some water, I saw a Canadian goose. A Canadian goose is a very large bird that we see in our backyards in Michigan all the time as they migrate from the north to the south. And there's one more bird I want to share with you guys that I saw when I went on my walk the other day. Can you guess what it is? What do you think? He's kind of like a goose. Do you guys know of a bird that's kind of like a goose, but it's not a goose? It's a duck. When I went on my walk the other day, I saw a mallard duck. It was so beautiful, and he was swimming in a pond. So Principal Bill sees lots of beautiful birds in his backyard. What birds do you see in your backyard? I don't know. So Principal Bill has a challenge for you guys today. Principal Bill would like you to take some time to look out your windows or go outside in your backyard and take a look around and see what birds you can find. And as an extra special challenge, if you can take a picture of a bird and email it to Principal Bill, I'll post some of those pictures on our Facebook page. What do you think about that? So you guys can be part of our Facebook page too. Monroe County Educational Center -official. Make sure you email those pictures to Principal Bill so I can make sure they're okay to post first, and then I'll put it online, and I'll even give you credit if you want your name attached to it. That's all I have for today. It's been really nice seeing you guys. I miss you so much, but it's really fun connecting with you through YouTube. You guys have a wonderful day.